Me and Kobe back for this one, and I'm excited to see if Shopify can try and challenge FlyQuest, currently undefeated so far in these first 3 games, sitting on that nice 3-0 scoreline. Would love to end week 2 with the clean 4-0. First couple of bans already coming out. Kalista back on that familiar first half of the ban spot here alongside the Vi. Meanwhile, FlyQuest going to respond. They'll ban out the Varus, which has also been very popular as an early pick for the marksman role, and the Poppy, with Cassiopeia now being banned away from quad. It's not one of those super common champions across the board, but it is a quad mainstay. And also, welcome Emily.
Yeah.
Good to have you here. Hell yes.
I'm sure people are sad about it, but
Emily, no, we are getting the frog. Somebody get the frog.
I like taking away the cast. I also think it's super interesting. Again, we see the Nefiri left up, and they're going Zhao instead for Shopify and Contractz on the blue side.
Yeah, Zhao is like one of the most, if not the most popular jungle now.
Yeah.
You know, with those buffs, just fights so incredibly well. You know, especially into low damage tanks like that. Loves to live off the Conqueror and the healing. So we'll take a look at the AP solo options there for Palafox shortly, because that has been another big part of these comps. You know, for Shopify, they're looking for Contractz plus Palafox to be this like proactive, you know, duo. That's what they really dreamed of and what they keep saying, and they're looking for. But already they're going to have to play into Inspired's Sejuani here, who has been, Inspired has just been the best jungler in the LTA, really proving himself over and over and over again.
He like sets the bar for good jungling in this league, right? Like this is the guy. If you want to be a good jungler in this league, you need to be able to go up against him and not just completely get outplayed.
Yeah, and so we're going to see the Taliyah coming in for Palafox, which is an interesting combination. We'll see if that will allow him to have a bit more side lane pressure, if he can get mid-prio and end up affecting the side lanes, maybe partnering with Contractz, like you said, getting involved with him early on in the game, especially going up against the playmaking of Azir Sedge.
And I think it has historically been one of Palafox's best champions. If you think back to the Energy success, you know, when they actually won the LCS and then, you know, at beat G2 in internationals.
Good times.
Palafox on Taliyah was one of the big parts of that. The Taliyah, but then also, you know, Yone and, you know, Silas and stuff like that, but which would be more exciting matchups into Azir. But the Taliyah is good too. Happy with that one too. Like Emily said, they've got a lot of, you know, possibilities of roaming around, especially since they have snagged the Ezreal early for Bvoy, which allows Seos to play what we have really come to see as like one of the biggest new benefits that Shopify have had when they fully incorporated Seos. Him working on an engage aggressive jungle with Contractz was one of the strongest synergies that we saw from them in the first week of this split.
So let me ask where you guys fall on this scale, because me and Azael are both card-carrying members of the MF Haters Club. Yeah. Are you guys also part of the club, or are you believers?
I actually like MF.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do we feel about it in this draft here?
So my thing with MF is, if you're using her, I want you to use her for all of her advantages, right? Like not just, because I feel like a lot of people look at just the ult setup and are like, okay, you know, how is this going to work if she's ulting and there's no CC or lockdown or whatever? Me with MF, and I think FlyQuest are the perfect team to do this, right? Like rotate her mid, get her like chewing through turrets very quickly. And again, I think FlyQuest are such a good team at playing the map. They'll know exactly where to move her around to get, you know, rotate her top, get prio previous to taking the grubs, rotate her mid, be able to take down a tier 1 turret. Basically use her like you would almost think of a Corki.
Yeah, make use of the strut, make use of the early life steal. She can stay very healthy while being bully in lane. And the strut move speed is just so good for rotating to the objectives early. But the MF flowers, some of the weaknesses, you know, that you're going to jump on is the Leona ultimate is always really annoying for an MF because it can interrupt your own ultimate. But also Taliyah's seismic shove can be super annoying, obviously, because you have to stand still for a bit. But yeah, go ahead.
I really like the Leona pick here because what you already just said, it stops the MF, very effective with the solar flare, but also it perfectly fits the bill for what you were talking about with how Seos and Contractz want to play together. It is a CC bot support. You've got Ezreal who can just say, bye Leona, I'll see you during team fight phase, and then Leona and Zhao go around beating people up in the jungle.
Yeah, and looking at this comp, I mean, I do think it has tools for Shopify to kind of enact some of the keys to success we've seen these players have in the past. Meanwhile, I don't know, I love Bwipo on the Sion. I think that's always, like, I'm surprised we haven't seen it more actually over here in the LTA. I've seen a lot more in LPL in particular, but yeah.
I think Bwipo is exactly the type of player that's not afraid of a good death. This is a good champion for Bwipo.
Yeah, and then Impact also used it yesterday for Team Liquid, along with Umpty's Skarner. So it's like those dual layers of engage, I think, are incredibly effective. You know, Sion ultimate plus some jungle that has some really good hard engage, like a Sejuani or a Skarner there. So nice little pair here too. Plus, I think the extra thing that FlyQuest really did need was some point and click for the Ezreal to keep down Bvoy, because Bvoy has been Shopify's best player, I think most consistent player, and that Nautilus ult will go a long way.
All right, let's get into it. Shopify Rebellion looking for their second win here, but FlyQuest do not want to give up their first loss here in Split 2 for the LTA. This front line that they've drafted with the Sion and Sejuani that you guys were talking about is absolutely massive. If FlyQuest get ahead, Shopify is going to have such a tough time breaking through these lines to get to the Azir and the Misfortune.
It is also really good setup for the MF if you're looking for her ult to hit clean, you know, like.
I want to be a believer. I really do. But we'll have to see. I feel like if there is a team that can make me a believer in this champion, FlyQuest should be that team.
Yeah.
All right, and Shopify, since Contractz has done so many early invades, I think a lot of teams are definitely very wary of that. Shopify do invest the time to at least get your regular Raptor Ward information for him, but Bwipo gets some counter information. I love this one by Gromp and Blue Buff.
Yeah, doesn't look like we're going to get any level 1 PvP. So in the meantime, Bwipo was talking some trash about Fudge on Pros last week. Let's listen in.
What's your assessment on Fudge? You already talked about Shopify. Let it out.
I don't know what to tell you, bro. My coaching staff has a tier list of the 3 worst players in the league, and he's in there. So
oh no,
I don't know if that speaks to him as a skill level or what I'm doing to him, but I'll let the fans decide on that.
I mean, I think the only time we scrimmed against him, I think I was playing pretty poorly in scrims, so that's pretty fair that he thinks I'm not so good. But I prefer to just play the game rather than talk. I think he likes to talk, likes to listen to himself talk a lot, so I'd rather just play League of Legends, and my talking days are over. I'm no longer into talking like I was when I was like 19. I think it's a little too much, for sure. But yeah, let's play some League of Legends.
Well, that's, I think Bwipo certainly got a stronger opinion about Fudge than Fudge has about Bwipo, that's for sure. Also got to see a little bit of a scrap down there in the bottom lane. Seo's going in for the engage on Massu once he hits level 2. Means the Misfortune had to blow the cleanse. Pretty low HP now as well.
Let's play some League of Legends, Flowers.
Let's do it.
Let's just play some League of Legends. Let your game speak for itself with the top lane matchup. Trading pretty heavily up there currently, and it does, look like Inspired is going to give the jungle advantage to Bwipo early on with opposite side clears for the jungles. I don't expect him to actually go and influence and actually gank Fudge early on, but it is always nice to know that your jungler's second clear also points them up towards your side of the map, because that's the nice thing. If they start,
feels good.
If they start on one side and end towards you, then they probably are going to keep doing that.
Yeah, and I'm super curious about this bot lane trade we saw, right? Because that gives control, that has given control of the lane to Bvoy and Seus, because they were able to jump on that super early. So they'll be able to back here. And I am curious to see, Contractz heading down there as well. We'll see if he wants to do anything.
All right, jungler's going to split which Scuttle Crabs they're working on. I do expect that we'll probably see one, if not both, of the bottom lane duos do the 4.5 to 5 minute swap that we often see where they go up into the top side. But now instead, it's Shopify, Seos, and Contractz just working together time and time and time again. Misfortune, now no summoner spells left in the tank. There is a massive target on Massu's back.
Exactly. They got the repeat visit, and your wave is pushing out away from you, so you have to have Inspired come down here and make sure you can fully do this, since Massu now is going to be vulnerable on the MF. So Inspired, it's actually not bad for him at all, since, like we said, he's just going into his second clear, which starts bottom side and ends up towards top side. So Inspired could spend like 2 seconds extra time to shadow for a little bit, make sure Massu and Busio will be able to push this one right back out. But the cleanse does come up very quickly back in again, so Massu actually going to be able to cycle that, and at least we'll have some sort of safety. Fudge, meanwhile, still safe, although taking a bit of a beating.
Yeah, Bwipo is just whooping him early on in this lane.
But he still has his teleport, so it's like, you know, it's fine to take the damage because you're going to go back to your reset anyways. It doesn't really mean a lot. It's just visually there. Here we go, mid-gank.
Okay, Busio looking for Palafox. Would like to at least get the flash out of the Taliyah. Palafox doing a good job staying close to that wall. That way, in case the dredge line would have normally been able to find you, oftentimes because that hitbox is larger than it appears, it'll end up just smashing into the wall, even if it looks like it shouldn't. So Palafox can get away from that one. Summoner spells intact.
Yep, and it does look like it is going to give FlyQuest complete control over this top side, as we see the kind of patented, not lane swap, but lane assignment, I guess.
The late swap.
The late swap. That's actually really good.
Yeah, you change one letter and it still works.
Yeah, I like it.
It's perfectly on time for the Void Grubbies as usual. And of course, we'll see if anybody walks there. Whenever you have a Sion, I just love the added advantage of having Sion ultimate be able to join Grub's fights, because Bwipo is level 6. Bwipo is pushing on bottom side, so you're like, we have full priority right now. So FlyQuest basically get to take the Grubs, and Shopify, they get to say, have fun.
Shopify are shopping elsewhere.
Well,
they do not have the ability to contest anything here right now, but it looks like maybe they're coming to town to see if they can find at least one of these Grubs on the very back end. Inspired will dash back over the wall, so final Void Grub at least slain by Shopify to stop the 3-0.
And it's because you see Bwipo there is not positioning to ult over, he is positioning to proxy farm deep in the enemy side. He is actually get the deep ward behind red buff, as well as going for the super deep proxy farm. Now, the question is going to be, are they actually going to go for this dive on top side?
That'd be a little wild.
It is very dangerous still. I mean, there's no flash on Massu, but his cleanse, like we said, does come back up very quickly. That is back up and available, so it's not like you can pull that kill off super quickly or anything. It does have some risk with it, and the minion wave, they're going to push in again. A lot of time is invested. If you invest this much time, Emily,
you gotta go. Busio immediately dredge lining in onto Bvoy, though. FlyQuest, they have to know that Shopify's looking to do something, so they want to force it into a 2v2 instead, but his first blood back over to Contractz. Busio about to drop, but he flashes away. Here comes Bwipo! He arrives with a thunderous bang as he immediately gets one back. Busio knocked up into the air by Contractz, who does manage to at least make it a 2-for-2.
Yeah, it ends up being a 2-for-2 because Bwipo was already headed up to that lane, right? Like, they knew that something was happening, and it also allows Quad to be free hitting on the mid turret as well. I still think that is a positive trade, even though Shopify did get the 2 kills. It's still a positive trade for FlyQuest, right? Because I thought they read it really well. Bwipo was already headed up top side to join here. And yeah, we'll see. Contractz spent so much time waiting for this.
They just couldn't do it quick enough. They could have done it on the previous wave when they were kind of setting up, and they had more recently seen Bwipo proxy farming, then it wouldn't have been quite so disastrous. It is really just saved because Bwipo was able to get his recall off, and because the FlyQuest duo lane were able to clear out that last wave and delay the dive. So Bwipo does cash in and it was like a mini shutdown that he got into Contractz because Contractz just got those 2 kills. And so now Bwipo actually ends up being the biggest beneficiary of the entire early game here with a full 1,000 gold lead for the Sion.
That is a lot of money on the top lane tank for FlyQuest. Bwipo more than happy to have that lead. You know he's going to continue trying to play this Sion aggressively, proxy farming, shoving waves, trying to use those ultis to set up plays like what we saw against that dive from Shopify.
And that's exactly what he should do, right? Like when we see Bwipo on these kind of meaty tank picks, like that's what I love for him to be doing, especially when you're going to get into 5v5 fights and he's going to provide massive protection for Massu.
And he went for the Titanic Hydra rush with the gold influx that he got. That thing, you can annihilate minion waves even quicker with Sion. He already annihilates them. It also gives you a nice little bit of burst damage once they do get into the actual team fights. But he teleported up top side. His ultimate will be back and available fairly shortly, and he deals with that minion wave ever so quickly. Let's take a look at the setup down on the other side for Dragon. They're kind of fighting over those wards, as you can see in the minimap. Meanwhile, Bwipo keeps up his pressure here to be able to earn some turret pressure.
I really love Titanic Hydra on Sion just because of the fact that it synergizes so well with bonus health. And Soul Furnace, pretty much every game, you're going to be getting 4 digits worth of health just from Soul Furnace passively. I mean, we're 10 minutes in, and he's already got 445 HP from Soul Furnace. It's just a ton. 4,500 total gold for Bwipo, 700 more than the second highest player in the game.
And it makes your zombie passive very threatening with the punches, with the on hits. So they are able to take their Dragon, and the Palafox play on Bwipo here.
Ooh, nice use of the ulti, buffering through the seismic shove so he doesn't get caught.
Yeah, and then this gives FlyQuest, again, complete control over the bot side of the map. We see Quad is already escorting this wave in to the turret, and Fly should be able to contest these grubs if they want to.
Okay, Contractz immediately jumping in, though, goes after Inspired. Seo's wanting to drop the Solar Flare, but the Arctic Assault defensively gets Inspired away. Despite the fact that they don't get the engage they're looking for, it does earn Shopify all 3 grubs.
And the big difference there is actually Palafox pushing Sion under tower. Bwipo can't join, you know? There's no avenue for him to ult through, since the ult was just blown by Palafox Seismic Shove. They just took the flash and the ultimate away from Sion. Basically guarantees that FlyQuest aren't going to have an extra member joining, and Palafox got to just rotate down and give that extra pressure. So FlyQuest, that's why they're like, you know what? We'll fish around. Maybe we get a sneaky smite on one of them and deny a pack for you and deny the 4th. That's what they're kind of hoping for, but they didn't actually want a fight there.
Yeah.
Just wanted to see if they could steal away a little bit. So good job by Shopify, you know, chasing them off basically to secure their 4 grubs total, as well as the full pack for themselves. Actually, a nice little mini win for them.
Yeah, and meanwhile, I think FlyQuest are really good in these situations, knowing when they can contest and when they can back off, right? Because then they send the MF mid, they have Prio there. They're also always in these situations really good at getting gold onto Quad, right? Just sitting him in a side lane. We've seen this happen with the Azir specifically too. Just put him in a side lane, get him in a position where they're kind of soft contesting, and then he can take down a turret. He has almost this entire tier 1 turret down on the bot side of the map.
Yeah, Quad's closing in on being the second player in the game to have more than a 1,000 gold advantage over his lane opponent, immediately disengaging Seos as he tries to jump onto that Azir with the Zenith Blade, but it's not going to happen, so no Azir ulti. But again, Emily, it's like you're talking about, it's not like Quad is focusing on trying to make a ton of plays or anything right now. He's just power farming. He's getting to the point where he's going to be that massive threat later, and man, Bwipo just continues bashing on Fudge.
And we'll see if they go for this dive, because Inspired is here.
Okay, Quad with the flash away from the Solar Flare, Inspired, stopping any sort of a potential follow-up there from Contractz, so FlyQuest backs away.
Yeah, Shopify, they always commit a lot for their side lane plays here, their attempted picks, and Contract's going to try and get a little bit more out of it. Seos is at his back yet again, so you have to respect the Leona CC. Here comes Quad back on his teleport, though. The blue buff has already been taken, so objective secured there for Shopify. And they're also getting some turret plate money back here with the push back towards this turret. So even that earlier deficit up a little.
Yeah, Shopify just trying to full send it down here. They're committing these ults. They're trying to find picks, even if it's not working out. Taking the consolation prize in blue buffs. And now Busio walking straight into the brush as Palafox arrives. Nice dredge line to buffer through the CC and get Busio to safety, escaping the true shot barrage from all the way back over in mid lane, alongside the follow-up damage from everybody else here. If he doesn't hit that, he's got to be dead for sure. Dredge line's back in now as Seoul and Contractz are still looking for a little bit more. Quad's got to provide the damage, and Massu is on the way. Contractz has already used his Zhao ulti. He has no way to protect himself. Massu should be able to find this kill pretty easily here. The soldiers dash over the wall, and Seoul tries to flash away, but Inspired's ready to clean him up. The feat of warfare has already been claimed. Meanwhile, the top laner 1v1 up in the other side of the map at the same time as Bwipo's going in looking for the kill onto Fudge, who's still kiting it out, still fighting it out, misses the boomerang. Decimate collides. Both of them are low, but nobody's dead up in the top half. It's only blood on the floor in bottom lane.
Oh, and that blood on the floor in the bottom lane is because of the AD carry's difference in mid lane. Massu with the misfortune struts on over ever so quickly, flashes to make the big difference. Meanwhile, Bvoy had just planted his feet in mid lane. You know, both of them had cleared the waves, but the Ezreal just stays in mid lane to push the next one, while the rest of the Shopify team is going so deep on their dive flowers, and it's way easier for Misfortune to make the rotation, not only because of the strut, but also she has the inside safe route through their own jungle.
Yeah, and I mean, Shopify spent so much time. They're like, okay, we're whittling away this, like we're whittling away ult, we're whittling away flash. The big thing is that Massu, to your point, Kobe, is already on his way, so they know that they can continue to contest this. Inspired is also even here on the very back half of this fight to get in, and as we go back to live, Quad is just taking down that bot tier 1. You can really see the difference in map play between these two teams when you look at the turret plating, right?
Yeah.
125 gold to 1,000 for FlyQuest.
Pretty big difference there.
And I feel like Shopify used so much time in their side lane plays. We were talking about for the top side when they went for the dive. This one, the like 3 consecutive dives on the bottom side. They spent so much time committing there. Meanwhile, FlyQuest.
Okay, fight breaking out on the bottom side. Seos is already down. Nice use of the bullet time there as Contractz. The ult keeps him alive for only a second longer as Bwipo knocking Fudge up into the air underneath the tier 1 turret. Fudge will take the kill, but he dies in retaliation. FlyQuest claimed 3 across the map. The only one they lose is Bwipo in that 1-for-1 trade. They'll take the Drake as well, and right before all that happened, that turret that you mentioned, Emily, that does earn FlyQuest the enchanted boots as well, thanks to the feats. Everything's going their way here. 16 minutes into the game, 2,500 gold lead. Let's watch it again.
Yeah, I mean, everything's just coming up FlyQuest, right? Like, they're already in a really good position for the Drake. Dredge line lands right onto Seus. MF ult goes off, and then, yeah, they're just not even able to get in, even with the Taliyah wall placement. Like, it just feels like SR are, like, halfway there, Kobe, and then they can never finish out because FlyQuest are in a better position.
Yeah. The FlyQuest did such a good job trading the other side of the map earlier, like you're talking about with the turret plate money. This one, though, Fudge against the player that was trash-talking him at the tower does get knocked up, and although he gets the shutdown on Bwipo, it is the 1-for-1.
Okay, it's just 1-for-1 shutdown. Not bad.
1-for-1. Yeah, 1-for-1.
Okay. They both seem to have the same analytical assessment of the situation. 1-for-1.
1-for-1. All right.
All right, sure. I don't think this is going to be 1-for-1. Seos is in some danger here. The Rift Herald has already been secured by Inspired and FlyQuest. Seos still trying to get away. The soldiers miss. They still need a little bit more damage. Surely Bwipo can just walk this in. The Rift Herald is summoned up. Seos trying to exit, but it's not going to happen. They're just deciding who they want to give the money to. And it looks like Inspired will be happy to take the extra paycheck, as now the Herald will collide with the tier 1 turret. That one's down too. Bwipo continuing to walk forward as Palafox does not get rid of him there with a seismic shove. Bwipo needs a little bit more damage as the depth charge finds the enemy mid laner. Decimate doesn't have the range. Contractz now trying to escape, but Quad's got the damage with the soldiers. Bwipo continuing to zone everybody else away, just flashes forward, smacks the enemy mid laner over the head, and Palafox is gone. Bwipo will die here. We call that a good death.
It's a shutdown, right, to Bvoy? Yeah, it is a good death, though, because you see, this is why I love when Bwipo plays these meaty tanks, because he just keeps going, right? Like, he keeps going, so he provides space for his team. Maybe they might not have wanted him to go that far.
I don't know if these were good deaths.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
I just saw a quad with a flash as the turret shot had already gone off, and it follows him and kills him too. So like,
it was a little much at the end.
Good deaths, guys.
Yeah, it was a little much at the end.
A little bit of happy gaming, but you know what?
The first part of it was really nice, right?
Yeah.
The wave is already coming in. Seos is pretty much dead. They pop the Herald. They get that turret down. I still love watching it, to be honest. I agree with you, Kobe, though. I'm not sure if that's good.
Hey, Bwipo is playing a champion with 2 health bars, and damn it, he is going to use both health bars. You've got to make sure you're playing the entire character, all right? Bwipo is not afraid of going in on this Sion. Unending Despair completed as the second full item for him. Leandri's Torment now completed, second full item for Quad. You can even see the LDR fully completed there for Massu. FlyQuest completing these major power spikes now, just about 20 minutes into the game, 30 seconds away from Otacon spawning. If they can get any kind of a pick, any kind of a good setup, you know they'll be hungry for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And they just have so much control over the map. And this is, again, one of the things I just love watching about FlyQuest is when they have leads, they can do a lot of fun things like diving.
I love watching
like diving past tier 2 turret, but they also, with their map pressure, just move around the map so well and make it so that Shopify are going to have a lot of tough decisions about where they can even go.
Yeah, I think probably the best thing from FlyQuest was how they dealt with Shopify over-investing in plays on side lanes early on. And getting a lot out of it, you know, trading at first, but then also calling people when necessary to counter the repeated dives and stuff like that. And now with the gold lead that they earned from those plays, we can see them set up for the next one because Dragon is only 35 seconds away on the clock, and they should have a pretty easy time because all these control wards allowing them some deeper moves here to look for picks. Palafox is a target with no flash.
Uh-oh. Palafox in some danger here. You'd have to think he at least has to commit Weaver's Wall to get out of it. And yes, he will, but now he's in the enemy jungle. So Weaver's Wall plus teleport. He's making a triangle to get himself back to safety. And it does work, but man, that costs a lot of resources.
The triangle to safety? That's a new one.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of trigonometry. As Bwipo now getting jumped on by Seos, and that is exactly where Bwipo is happy to be. Look at the damage on that Titanic Hydra. Just smacking this Leona around as Contractz tries to lock up Massu, but the follow-up damage isn't there. Now he surely dies with the fire back from Quad, as Inspired has to flash away so that he's not trading his own life back for it. It's Contractz down. It's Seos barely getting away from Bwipo, but he does not have any ultimate. He does not have any flash. He's got 50 HP. There's no way he can participate in a fight. And now FlyQuest is once again in control.
We're getting lost in the triangle, and and they're getting lost and running around, circles around this river. Bwipo does not actually get the full chase down on that sneaky support, and so they end up not actually initially starting the Dragon, but after reset with the Hex Gates, they will still be able to claim the prize. It may be a funny one, Flowers, but in the end,
it all worked out.
Get that.
It all worked out. Sometimes the road gets a little bumpy, takes a couple of turns you might not expect, but they still made it to the destination, and now they're on Soul Point on a Hex Tech map at 22 minutes into the game.
Yeah.
Things just got a lot scarier for Shopify.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, I believe we've entered the point where it's like, if you get a catch on Bwipo, are you really catching Bwipo?
Well, I think Seos caught him as much as you can catch him, because then he like took all of his time.
Yeah, here we go.
By like dangling. Let's take a look at the journey. So this is how it started. You know, with the ultimate being used and some damage here. Then because Contractz wanted to create space to allow exits for his teammates, he goes in on Massu, pops his ultimate, and then Audacious charges away too to try and actually, you know, get it out for the rest of them. But we were really curious about that chase on the bottom side.
Yeah, I saw it on the minimap. I was like, Bwipo was still chasing him on the back half.
Yeah.
He does not stop.
But because they got that kill. Ooh, wait a second.
Close on the dredge line there, but it misses. Contractz jumps into the front as Bwipo slams in on the flank, and Contractz losing HP rapidly. He and Seos try to escape as Busio ready to re-engage with the dredge line to find Palafox. Bullet time flying through as Contractz is shuffled back, and Quad facilitates another one. Double kill over to Inspired, and Bwipo is 1v1ing Fudge off on the side. Surely about to die here. One more hit's going to do it. Fudge gets the hyper proc to guarantee, but now Bwipo is angry. He'll run forward. No chance of getting any kind of a kill back here. Still, though, that's 3 for 1.
Yeah, and they'll be able to reset back off of this. I mean, it's, again, Shopify, I think they're looking for the right things, right? It's just that even within these team fights, there's so little space for them to go.
And a big part of that last one, as we'll see in the setup here, is the difference for top laners, because Bwipo, you can see on the minimap, he's got the inside route, and Sion ultimate, again, is always so much quicker than teleporting. And you see the Gnar right now, walking up through river, not teleporting, just trying to walk there. Sion already ulted over, and the fight is basically decided. You know, that was basically a 4v5 for a good, like, what was that, 7 seconds, 8 seconds?
Good while.
Before that time. And so the difference has already really been made by the time it does get evened up. So even though Fudge technically in the end does get to kill Bwipo, you know, his team got such a big win there in the beginning of the fight.
I mean, honestly, it is impressive, at least from Fudge's perspective, the fact that early on in this game, you know, back at 10 minutes or whatever, Bwipo had over a 1,000 gold lead that is now completely evaporated. Fudge is actually the one member of Shopify who does have an individual gold advantage over his counterpart. But man, it is he is up against quite the task of dealing with the rest of the lead that FlyQuest has built for themselves. Still about 2,000 here as Inspired soaking a lot of damage on the front line, and now Bwipo has made his entrance yet again. Contractz absorbing plenty of time here with that ultimate, but it's not enough. Busio down to about 10% HP, has to walk away from this one. And again, Fudge doesn't have the opportunity to get involved in the fight before it's already over.
Yeah, and it teleported, but yeah, the teleport arrival, those things take a while, plus it's a little late, like, so. The snap play.
What is he doing? Going in after Quad now. This could be huge. Fudge making the play, finding Quad when it seemed like everything was already over. FlyQuest getting caught off guard there.
Gets another one. All right, what can they do with it? Because FlyQuest already spread on the map, and they've got pushing on 2 lanes here. It doesn't look like it's just a straggler kill. Doesn't seem like they're actually going to get any, you know, minion waves pushed or anything out of it.
But I do like how Shopify are punching back, right? Like, especially when Fudge was not able to get into the fight, unlike Bwipo prior to that, combining with Palafox and the Taliyah wall to push and try to get those picks, because those are their windows back into the game, right? Like, those are their windows to try to get some map pressure, especially with the way that FlyQuest have been playing outside lanes.
Yeah, when you look at FlyQuest, too, one interesting part, there are 15 kills on this team. 10 of those are on Sion and Sejuani. The tanks have been doing all of the killing so far for FlyQuest. They still have about that same 2,000 gold lead that they've had for what feels like 10 minutes now. But the big difference, less than 45 seconds until what will be Seoul for FlyQuest spawns. If they secure this, it'll be a massive power spike that could really accelerate the state of the game. Shopify knows it, and they're first into the river. They've got control.
Yeah, but the smite goes the other way. Inspired gets the Scuttle Crab vision, which could be big for it. So we'll see if that shrine ends up helping. Oftentimes, you know, when your front line has such a big advantage here for FlyQuest, it makes it really, really easy for Quad and Massu to play out these team fights. And so Shopify, kind of the trick is, can we get like a seismic shove to separate these teams? If they could get like a really good Taliyah setup or something to lay down some rocks and then separate them. I don't know about...
Yeah, Bwipo loses half HP, but again, the Sion not really afraid of being the guy who gets jumped on. Inspired will lose his Arctic armor there, but Shopify not going to get anything super meaningful just yet.
That's kind of what you're looking for, though, these little seismic shoves, little chunks. They go for a wall.
Oh, nice catch there on the Quad, who immediately has to pop the stasis, just trying to stay alive. Throws out the wall and gets nothing from it. Contractz takes the first kill, but now it's traded back as Seos falls. Bwipo's still here on the front line. FlyQuest knows that Massu's the only remaining cannon. They have to play around him. Busio's such low HP. He's stuck back underneath the tier 1 turret. The True Shot barrage is massive. Massu tries to flash away, but he's already down. Inspired dies too. Shopify Rebellion Noxian come to life, and FlyQuest falls to the floor. A decimate from Bwipo doesn't matter because Fudge transforms at just the right time. It'll at least be a 1-for-1 there at the very end thanks to the Titanic Hydra burst. But Shopify win an absolutely necessary fight to even up the game.
It's critical, Flowers, and it is huge. And look how they do this. The engage onto quad and then the re-engage from Seoul and Contractz. It's really intelligent. They go for the wall. Contractz pops his ult to deny all the damage from the Misfortune ult, and then they re-engage right after quad comes out of stasis and uses the Azir ult. So it's a huge trade there. They're happy to give Seoul's life for that kill. It gets a little dicey with the extra damage coming out on the trade, but Palafox is able to get a nice little bump there. They get the shutdown onto Massu with Bvoy just arcane shifting forward. But here's the split call, which slows them down a little bit.
Yeah, this will slow them down a little bit. The other big thing for me is that Bvoy and Palafox throughout that entire thing, Palafox set the wall to kind of set it up, isolate quad right into a point where he could be caught out. And then the two of them, the main damage dealers, are absolutely untouched. And you can see Demonte and Revan are like, please.
Revan's reactions are some of my favorite that we get on the coach cams. He's a very animated character.
Yeah. Oh, man. They were like on the precipice of having a even bigger comeback swing there, but they calmed down after their chase onto Bwipo and did deny the Dragon Soul. That was very critical. Huge. You know, after you invest the time on chasing, you got to go get the smaller objective. You know, can't fully get a Baron comeback or anything like that. So denial of the Dragon Soul was step number 1 for Shopify. Now, can they set up another fight like that with some really good separation moves? I mean, the denial beginning, like the wall into some of the seismic shoves coming through really big, and Bvoy getting paid is exactly what Shopify fans really want to see and really need to see here, because the Ezreal could be the big difference maker.
Fudge trying to go for the Mega Gnar there, but doesn't find it on Inspired. Now that's a massive error from Palafox. That could be the entire game. Otacon aggroed, still putting some of the debuffs here onto Shopify as they try to run. Massu's over the wall. A big bullet time could really shred here, but it doesn't get a whole lot of value. Bwipo and Quad having to back away now as Bvoy continues retaliating, putting bullet after bullet into Busio, who dredge lines forward. Seos misses the Zenith Blade, but Bvoy hits the shot perfectly. Finds one back. Palafox traded for Busio. Bwipo continuing to try to retreat. Bvoy's damage absolutely huge here. Bwipo with a 2-man decimate as Fudge has to try to hop away from Massu. A little bit more damage will kill off the Gnar. Transforms just in time. Fudge takes down Inspired, but Contractz will be traded off now as well. With Bvoy falling, that's the end of the line for Shopify, but at least Fudge is going to get Massu beforehand. There shouldn't be enough damage now for FlyQuest to at least take Baron, but now we got another TP coming back. Palafox is making his way in. Oh no, Palafox, but Quad misses the ulti. It's an absolute party up here in the top side as now Palafox continues having to get away. He's now used both summoner spells, continuing to retreat. A seismic shot on a Quad, but an ace for Bwipo and FlyQuest.
Once again, I'm so appreciative of your lung capacity going through. This fight feels like it took like 5 minutes with them kind of rotating onto Inspired, handing the dredge line onto Contractz, and then Palafox getting absolutely caught out coming out of that Weaver's wall.
Well, he wanted to put the wall, but not surf that wall. Some walls, Flowers, you just build and you leave them. You don't need to surf on every wall. That one right into the Sion. It was going to be a good one, you know. It was going to deny the Sion. Ultimately, it was going to deny the chase down there. But then we got into this crazy fight where Bvoy was doing so much work in this fight, leading up to the point where they had to go over the wall into Massu. And then it gets a bit worse here, even with the timing being missed on the,
I think Mithy is representative of many FlyQuest fans right now, given the state of the last 5 or so minutes of the game.
But I mean, honestly, a little bit on both sides. Yeah, some face palms on both sides after this scrap here. In the end, still FlyQuest did increase their gold lead, but these fights,
Okay, catch onto Seos, Inspired guaranteeing they have the Leona locked up, but not enough damage to kill him here. Immediately, Bwipo charging forward, finds Palafox. Seos still alive, but injured. Contractz jumping back towards Massu to try to create a little bit of space, but Quad has already killed Palafox. Contractz dies to Massu. Bvoy, Seos, and Fudge all in full retreat. The Leona has to heal. FlyQuest only losing health on their frontline meatballs. That's A-OK. They're marching it up to Baron.
Yeah, the frontline diff here is huge. FlyQuest frontline incredibly thick. They're just going to go straight for the Baron now. And honestly, there's not a lot Shopify can do about it. I mean, you can't even really go for the dragon. They're heading there, but the timer is just not in your favor. Because Baron Empowered Recall is going to get off here. You have Hex Gates as well. They're trying to go for the setup, though. I kind of like this if you get there early and you just go for picks.
Yeah, Massu.
Massu getting caught out by Fudge here, but he's firing right back into the mini Gnar, and Massu just sits him down. Bwipo charging forward now, finds Bvoy there with the ulti, and Busio's following up. Inspired's waiting over the wall, and I feel like we just saw the end of the game. Bvoy dies, Seos follows. There are 3 dead on Shopify Rebellion for over 30 seconds, and FlyQuest, Baron empowered everybody, barreling down mid lane.
I think you're right, Flowers. I think we just saw the end of the game there, especially with the key difference there is Bwipo was able to immediately get on to Bvoy as quickly as possible to make sure that he can't just kind of dash around and continue to do damage. A little bit dicey, but looking like a FlyQuest win.
Yeah, Contractz will try to buy as much time as he can. Jumps in, drops the ulti, flashes away. FlyQuest knows they don't have to chase this. They're just going to go ahead, keep this push going forward. 2 seconds on Seos. Palafox is alive. Contractz is alive. We're not going to get the end here quite yet. Shopify holds on. They will have another chance, but FlyQuest now on their way out. They will secure the Dragon Soul. They will have about a 7,500 gold lead. This game went from back and forth and bloody to now nearly guaranteed for FlyQuest.
Yeah, I mean, they'll easily be able to rotate back onto this Drake. They take down that tier 2. That wave is going to crash into inhibitor turret. They should now be in a really good position on the map. Bwipo and Busio going to check out this Otacon take.
Yeah, Shopify knows that they have to do something. They cannot just let FlyQuest get away with what they got. And there it is. Yeah. Objective bounty claimed. Voracious Otacon for Shopify Rebellion. So they have the false lives. Dredge line not quite used yet, but the depth charge on Fudge locks him up. He will be the first to lose that false life as Inspired is locking up a couple so Massu can shoot them down. Shopify really glad they got this Otacon and not the other one, because otherwise the game is just over right now. They will respawn quickly enough to have those 3 players back in action and maybe have one more fight here at the Nexus, but the top lane tier 3 turret and top lane inhibitor are already both down. FlyQuest continuing the pressure as the seismic shove misses. Busio trying to go forward. Inspired only locks up Seos. That's not the target that they want, but the super minions are pouring into the base. Now the Nexus turrets, that first one already down to about half HP. Contractz singing the same song. Quad has jumped forward. Fudge goes in for the Mega Gnar, but a nice stasis shuts that down. FlyQuest continue their push. A nice shuffle onto 2. Palafox is getting caught out, and Fudge is down to Inspired. With Bvoy dead in the dirt, that's going to be the end of it. That's all she wrote. FlyQuest, 31-14, remain undefeated.